better profit
which is
margin.
huge, and without having to increase.
And I'm
the
sure
cost.
other people are working on this now. But I mean, I sat with Bert and we talked a while about different things, like how you could do it. But the reason why we don't have a glassing machine, you hate to say it, is because in China they have the labor is so cheap. There's no need for them to invent that.
Yeah.
The U.S. we need to come up with something. I mean, out west it looks like they have a crisis finding laminators out west too, right? I haven't talked to Matt Biolas about it or any of the other guys, but I don't know if you have.
I've just heard that they can't find people. It's really difficult, and it's hard to get boards glass, and it's taken a while.
And you can't. We don't charge enough for surfboards to pay them enough, right?
Exactly.
So you can go do construction and make $200 to $300 a day.
Yeah.
You can't go in fiberglass surfboards and get paid $200
And it's
a
toxic,
day.
you know.
And it's toxic.
It can be a little toxic for some people. Like some people develop a allergy to it, right? Over time. So I mean,
you got to be a certain type of person to want to do this.
I wonder if you could 3D print the glassing on it. If there's like a
I
resin
do a lot
printer.
of 3D printing. I got 2 Stratus, $15,000 3D printers at my school here in Bayport.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of cool stuff. I could show you. We have a cool Instagram. The kids build all this cool stuff in the 3D printer. And I think there's one company the one that's doing the hollow boards, right?
Yeah.
And they 3D print the inside of the board, but then they still have to glass it.
Yeah.
So you might be onto something as far as like you want to 3D print over the foam.
Yeah. What if you had it go over like... You still have to sand it down afterwards, but if you had a 3D printer that printed resin, and they would just go and you could just have it go over the board. Just have it go over the board, and then the only thing you'd have to do is sand it down, make it look nice and clean. Probably be a little bit more work than if it were hand glassed and squeegeed, but it might be a shell that you can create around it. I wonder.
Right. Have you seen the other 3D printer that shoots the lasers? The one that shoots the Form Labs?
Yeah, they do like in the carbon, That's what like Boeing uses to make it.
Right. So you got like those industries involved in surfing.
Yeah.
They would figure out all our problems, but they don't want to get involved because there's no money to be made. They don't care. They would rather make aircraft parts, than they don't care about the surfing
I've always thought you could make a 3D printed surfboard. It would just take a really long time. The 3D printers don't, you see on social media everything's sped up,
right?
But it takes forever to print.
It does,
and and I think that would be a real difficult thing.
Right.
But I always thought a 3D printed board would be great because you could make honeycomb structures. You could 3D print the honeycomb structure as the core, and so it's all light, and then you can make the honeycombs denser in the middle. Or denser in the ends, or denser in certain parts to affect the flex pattern. Yeah. And then and then it's just I don't know, fucking take some plastic and melt plastic around it. I don't know, could plastic work as as a shell for a surfboard then?
I don't know. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that's made overseas, it really is plastic, But the strength to weight comes into effect with 3D printing too, because it's going to be relatively heavy. They've 3D printed boats.
Yeah, they've
3D printed a center console boat,
dense.
And I mean, you actually have the settings, and it's it looks like a honeycomb of a webbing when you break apart a 3D printed part, because it's all the webbing that's built, and you can set the resolution to how much you want. So you can speed it up, less material. Slow it down, more material, thicker, harder.
So you do have the surfboard, then you just speed it up so it's lighter, and then you just have to make sure the shell is pretty durable.
Right.
That goes around that.
I mean, it would be fun to do a few for prototyping and stuff to do,
Let's. All right. So here's the idea: we prototype 3D print a core. Skin the base with P-Tex like a ski snowboard, and then we'll figure out something put on top, that makes it watertight.
Yeah.
Or we create a little section in it where we put a helium bladder, so there's air, so it makes it really light and float. I've always thought about that, injecting a board with helium. What would that do?
Yeah. Don't they have those helium cores now?
I'm sure. Well, Firewire, they call it helium, but
it's not really helium.
Yeah, helium is tough to come by these days, apparently.
Yeah.
What I always love about you, though, is also you were tinkering in other things. So, right here, we have these shot glasses you're doing, and trying to create no waste.
Yeah, so we got these silicone molds, and we're trying to take all of our waste and pour them into the molds with different swirls and stuff. So we're making little shot glasses and plant holders and different things. And I do this for my kids for fun. You know, we do these crafts and stuff at home.
Yeah.
But it's a good way to get rid of all of our waste, because it's so sad when you mix up a batch of resin.
It's crazy.
And you're always ending up with something on the floor, you know? So that should be the future with the glassing machine. There should be
no waste.
No waste.
You know, I mean, it's like with the shaping machine. What's great is like there's not as much waste.
No, because the blank is so close tolerance. Like the blanks we get from Marco are so close tolerance that you watch when we cut the deck of that thing, it's barely skimming the deck. And you cut the bottom, maybe a quarter of an inch comes off. So there's not bags and bags of dust anymore. What
do you do with the foam with the foam dust that you do have?
Well, the poly foam dust you can't do anything with, but the EPS dust can be recycled.
Why can't you use the poly? Can't you like? I always wondered, like, could you not pour resin and the poly dust into like a mold and make like something out of that?
You could do that. You'd have to have the dust ready, and you'd have to have a mold ready. But it's definitely a good idea.
Because I know, and then like I've read like that Cobra factory, right? They have like waterfalls on their walls that absorb the foam dust, and then it gets filtered.
Yeah, the waterfall for the sanding rooms and the shaping rooms, which is really cool because it catches all the dust, and then they bring it back, and it probably turns it into like a cube or something. I don't know what they do with it after that, but it definitely keeps a cleaner factory, than just sweeping it up.
It must be, your mind must like go wild sometimes trying to think of ways to repurpose everything.
Yeah, it's hard.
Are you selling like, the paper floors, that get covered in resin to art galleries?
Well, we've broken the pieces up. We've given some people make like jewelry and stuff out of the resin. That's cool. It's just there's so much of it that we end up throwing it all out.
God, man, there's got to be like a place for you to donate that or put or have someone take and repurpose it. I feel
it's a little hard to cut and sand and polish. That's why the molds are better, because the silicone mold is a perfectly smooth mold. Like if you hold the shot glass, it's almost perfect. Like you just sand the bottom and
you see shot glass. I see egg cup. I'm gonna put my soft-boiled egg in one of these. You could.
You could. I'm always thinking about taking shots. Sorry.
But I mean, that's. I think that's really cool, though, that you're trying to do that sort of stuff at least.
I mean, that's what's exciting about making stuff, and having this workshop is like trying to do cool new stuff. Like I don't want to just do the same thing every day, Like we do different stuff every day.
Yeah.
Like I showed you the prints and stuff that we do the art boards for this company, and we're able to like print directly in the shop and lay out the artwork. So now a family comes in, they want their family photo on their board to just hang in the living room, and we can do that like instantly on site.
That's amazing. Like that's something for all our listeners, by the way. If you want, like, this guy can take any imagery, and he's got this very specific printer that we won't mention because it's top secret. And he could print out basically on rice paper
or fiberglass,
and print it onto your board and have the exact image or graphic that you want, which is freaking cool.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. And then we teamed up, like a lot of the big shapers use through Shape 3D.
Yeah.
Right, and Thomas at Shape 3D in France, we have the Board Builder app now on our site. So you can go in, you can drag and drop the logos, you can design your board, you can upload your art and put your art on it. And they kind of stepped it up a little bit to kind of be...
This is on your website
on the
right
website,
now.
yeah, you can, or on the,
That's crazy.
Yeah, so you do the board, and then when we have a printout of it, like you saw in the other room, we have the printout.
Yeah.
There's a lot less room for error when we have a printout of exactly what the person signed off on.
Right.
There's less gray area. Although there's always a gray area with color when it's like a photo or paper or whatever. Yeah, there's always issues with color, but... then the person really gets exactly what they want. And I find a lot of people like, I spent like 3 hours screwing around on your app the other day, just designing boards for fun.
What?
Which is kind of cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you gotta check it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where
I didn't come up with it. The guy Tom at the Shape 3D
but it's
guy,
on your site.
But it's on the site, and it's cool. It's pretty cool.
So people can play on that shaping app, and then you can take that CAD file and shape a board off it.
So the files, we give all our models are on there.
Yeah.
So if it's something that they want specifically, they'll just pick something close to our model and then be like, no, I want these dimensions. When you get my order, do these dimensions. But the beauty of being able for them to get, if they have regular vector artwork that's ready to go, they just email that over. We shape the board and we lay out their artwork and glass their artwork right into the board, and then they pick it up. So like a lot of stuff's going that way as far as like online orders have increased because of the app and because a lot of people being at home and they're scaredy cats of COVID. They don't want to come to the store.
Yeah. What how's the store been then? Like that must have been, because the surfboards have been busy, but the store is still another overhead.
Right. So the store was slow, through when we were closed. We just did appointment only. Yeah. And I'd meet people there, pick up their ding repairs, pick up their boards and whatnot. And then we went back to almost a normal schedule last summer and throughout the winter. And throughout the winter we closed a couple days, and now we're open, 7 days a week, 12 to 6 every day. But we don't push the hours that much on the retail because we don't sell a ton of clothes. We do sell wetsuits and other accessories and stuff, but we mostly are selling boards and repairs. So like, if someone's going to drive from Rockaway for their board, they'll wait until we open, or they'll come the next day, or if they have repairs to drop off or pick up, they're going to fall within our time frame. We're not getting walk-in shoppers, so to say.
When do you sleep? Because you got
a little bit.
You got 3 kids. You're a school teacher, so you got a regular 9 to 5. Yeah. You got the factory here and the shop. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. But I like to do lots of things. Well, you're like me. ADHD, you got to keep busy.
Yeah, the people that have ADHD need to focus it and turn it into a way to be happy and, make money and succeed, because it can be a gift. Yeah. No, definitely. And have you seen, like, how's it been in the water out here? Has it been more crowded? Have you noticed that? During COVID, it was extremely crowded. We had great waves. Remember last spring was like great, and it was really crowded. I think it was crowded everywhere. Yeah. But now, I don't know. What do you think? I feel like it's almost come back to almost a normalcy, but a little bit more.
I think, like, Rockaway for me definitely feels like there's people who started last year who are continuing and are going to keep going. So it feels
a lot of new beginners last year, which is cool.
I mean, so I feels like it'll be more busy. Right. It's been busy. Out east here, I don't know. I haven't been surfing much out here, a little bit more, but I've heard, like, I saw Chip Jankow last
nice.
November, and Chip was like, yo, you got to do something. It's getting crowded out here. All these people. You got to, like, teach etiquette at least on your podcast or something, So, so there's that for sure. Like, but I don't know. I feel like it's funny. Like, Long Island is funny. Like, people just go to the crowded spots.
I know.
And those of us who don't mind surfing alone, like, if we want, we have time.
Yeah, if you have time. You can walk down the beach. There's plenty of spots.
I can surf alone every day of the year if I really wanted to. Right. There's...
But you pull up and you see that one jetty that looks so good. You're like, fuck.
Well, for me, it's been just more like time. Like, I don't have time to dick around and search every spot and see where there's crowds and not. Right. So sometimes I just go because I know this spot's going to be good. The sand is good. It's definitely going to be waves. There's crowds, but I know I can get plenty of waves still. Right. And I'll still go there because I only got like an hour and a half or 2 hours to surf. Right. Max. Exactly. I have to race back. And that's like the thing, a bit more. That limits you from searching out your own peak. Right. You got the boat, which is nice.
The boat, and we drive on the beach a little bit out here and stuff, which is nice.
Can't wait to see more people with those e-bikes with the big tires.
Oh, I know. Those things are sick.
Take those all over searching for spots.
Oh, yeah. Those are amazing. We wish we had that when we were
no, can you imagine?
the technology with battery technology, I try and explain like to the kids in school, like we couldn't get something to lift off the ground with electric power. Well, what do you mean? We had gas-powered helicopters that would take your head off, but you couldn't get a battery-powered object to come off the ground. Now that you have a drone that's the size of like a peanut, and you have